Hello, this is Tom Cloud with my bi-weekly precious metals market update. As promised today, I will make forecast. Last year was the best year for gold, and my forecasts were very accurate, and hopefully they'll be accurate again. I spent a lot of time talking to people both in the U.S. and a lot out of the U.S. in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Indonesia, where gold buying has exploded, and even in Europe, especially Germany, where citizens have figured out they're tired of paper money, and they too want to get the real money in their hand, God's money, the way it was made from the beginning, that governments couldn't abuse it. There's only so much in the earth's crust that can be used, and certainly there's been a lot more money printed in paper money than there has been in gold coming out of the ground, and it's becoming recognizable around the world. But let's jump right into this thing. We had an incredible year this year. Gold went up 19% for 2019, silver 17.4. We got 54% on palladium, and platinum went up 24%. What a year to remember for the precious metals. And we're seeing top commodity brokers saying it's going to be a repeat. And I'll get to that in a few minutes, but I do agree we will see some repeating numbers on these huge gains that we had in 2019. Let's start with gold, because gold is money. Gold has been money since the second chapter of Genesis, when God put gold in the Garden of Eden for commerce. There's no place in the world where you see put paper $100 bills floating around in the Garden of Eden or anywhere else for that matter. So we take this very seriously, that gold now is going to jump and go to prices you can't believe. And there are many reasons. But let's start with Basel III. We talked about a little bit last April. We now have the agreement of Basel III out of Basel, Switzerland, where the Bank of International Settlements, BIS, which is the 60 largest central banks in the world, now can buy gold and put on their balance sheets at 0% risk. That's only government bonds and gold, and that's it. Not real estate, not stocks, only gold and only government bonds from AAA rated countries. That's all they can carry. And the gold has to be segregated. The gold has to be available for delivery, and they can count it. So here, 60 central banks now prefer gold to any other investment in the world except for government bonds, and you're going to see this explode. 2019 brought the biggest purchase of gold by central banks in the history of civilization, and it's going to be bigger this year. It's already started out with major purchases in the last week, part of it driven by the Iran situation. Here's a make this tape in January of 2020. So the Bank of International Settlements is going to by itself send gold up over 5%, according to many reliable sources, not including anything else. So I'm going on the line and saying gold is going to have another year like last year, 15 to 20% in gold, with the acceleration of purchases going by central banks around the world. I also believe that the federal printing of money we're seeing, we only go back to 2007 and remember the quantitative easing that we needed after a stock crash of 38%. I'm not saying that's going to happen right now, but certainly the percentage chance of it is much greater than it was, that there'll be a major stock correction, depending on what happens in Iran and Iraq also, and what's going on worldwide. North Korea's back in the problem column, and there's a lot of things, but mainly what gold has for it is you can't quantitative ease it, you can't make it, you can't print it. I mean, we're sitting here now with a deficit over $23 trillion, and we're paying over $600 billion in interest. Compare that to 1980, not that long ago, 40 years ago, when Jimmy Carter was voted out of office because he proposed a $500 billion budget. Today, the interest on the debt is higher than the budget was in 1980, and it's getting worse. If there's anybody that thinks the dollar's going to survive, they need to be in the nut house. The question is, when will it completely go away and there'll be a reset? And when there is a reset, the people holding gold, not silver we'll talk about later, but the people holding gold are going to have a free fall profit, and they really don't care because less than 2% of the people own gold. So the ones of us that are smart and diversify our portfolio God's way, we put our investments in 6 or 7 or 8 different categories, like he gave us an admonition in Ecclesiastes 11:2, to divide our wealth into different areas. It only makes sense. But now we're at a time where it's run away. Every government now is printing money, not just the U.S. Other governments now are running debts, not just the U.S. The whole world is living off of borrowed money that can never be repaid. The only way out is when we, the public, quit believing in it. Then there's a crash in the paper money market, and gold is reset at a very high number. You hear 6,000, 12,000, 18,000. I don't know what it's going to be, and probably very few people do. But we know it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen for sure. So now I had a church call last week, and thank me, in 2015, gold ended the year at 1,062. It ended at 1,523. In 4 years, gold went up 50%. And that was the best investment they had for the church, by putting a percentage into gold, God's money. And we're going to keep seeing that over and over as we see more and more ministries that have access money. A lot of them don't, but the ones that do, we see a lot of them buying gold. They don't feel it comfortable anywhere else, and they feel it's an answer to prayer. So certainly we want to keep an eye on that. Number 3, we talk about another reason I think gold's going to rocket is the reset. And Trump is so pro-gold. Just look at the people he's put in court positions that are hard money people and don't want to print money and don't want to put our government further and further in debt. So that's another important issue. We look at gold-backed cryptocurrencies. Not a big follower of those yet, not a big believer yet, but certainly with the amount of money going in, pushing, there will be a time where it's just a faster way to own money and close trades and buy things as we head toward. Last Sunday in my church, we had a guest speaker that's very well known speaker, and one of the things he was talking about to know in the end times is the increase in knowledge. He was saying it took 100 years back around 1900 for knowledge to double, and now it takes less than 1 day for knowledge to double because of all the electronics and everything that's going on, and the increase in knowledge and increase in the different categories for speed of internet, trade selling internationally. All this is doubling every day. So we know that we're trying to move away to a cashless society. It's even worse against us that's trying to use real money and trying to buy things that can't be created out of thin air. So I'm not going to talk about silver today, except to give you my prediction. It went up 17.4%, 2019. Gold went up 19%, as I said. I think silver will do 20 to 25% this year. And we'll talk about the demand in the electric cars and the solar panels and the things that are going to drive silver up, where I think it will be the top investment for the commodities and the precious metals in 2020. I also believe that palladium, that went up 54%, will only go up 0 to 10%, even though it's jumped out of the gates as I record this on the 8th of January, it's jumped out of the gates. I think it is about to top out. And when it does, you're going to see the flip to platinum. And I think of all the emails. Our platinum buy signal was incredible back in the summer. People were up 24, 30%, depending on when they bought it. And we think platinum is going to continue to go up, and the uses in catalytic converters that are left over will continue to favor platinum over palladium. And at some point, there will be a major correction down. So I'm predicting that palladium could have, because the first quarter could have a 0 to 10% gain this year, but platinum I think is going to be 15 to 20% up for the year 2020. It's time that you get a position in platinum if you don't already. It's going to be a tremendous metal. As we watched platinum and palladium trade places, we saw platinum go to 2,000, then all the way down to 600, now back up to 1,000, and headed back, we think, toward 2,000 the next 2, 3, or 4 years. And we see palladium coming down 40 or 50% to 1,000 to 1,500 from the 2,100 where it is now. So hopefully you can call Dan or I, and we'll be happy to discuss this. But it's time to up your allocation in gold and other commodities. We only do the precious metals, but there are also other commodities in bull markets you may want to look at. I have no suggestion who to use, but you should look at it because there is some tremendous potential in some of those markets. So we'll get into 2 weeks from now into silver in more detail, but I'm very excited about where we're headed with gold and silver in particular, and platinum, and can only tell you every day you wait is, I'm not going to say it could back up a little bit because of how fast it's jumped out due to what's going on with Iran and the impeachment of President Trump. And there'll be a lot more of that coming our way. But socialism is also that we see a lot of the Democratic people running for more and more socialistic demands. And that certainly is real good for gold and silver as they print more and more money to bring these socialist programs into being and disregarding the debt even worse than Bush and Obama and Trump have done. They all have just continued to run debts at numbers that are unsustainable and uncomprehendable. You can reach Dan or I at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812. And if you haven't noticed, I've been spending a lot of my time finding deals for you, the investor. Dan's doing more and more of the talking to our clients, but I've got to go out and do what I've spent 43 years building as a reputation, where every wholesaler wants to sell me things because they know we'll do what we say we'll do, and we're giving the ultimate end user an incredible deal. So the last 2 months, we've brought deals that I've never brought before by spending more of my time on the buying end, and we're going to continue to do that. If you don't have a precious metals self-directed IRA, we can help you get that. And a lot of baby boomers my age rolling out of 401ks, creating 2 IRAs, one for their stocks and bonds and one for their precious metals. So hopefully that's what you're doing if you're a baby boomer and you're coming out. And we just had a change in the IRA law where you only have to take a deposit now, this distribution, it's 72 rather than it's 70 and a half. And that will affect a lot of our clients and a lot of our investors. So get caught up on everything going on. It's exciting. There's never been a more exciting time to live in world history. Biblical prophecies are coming true. We're seeing more and more things happen that looks to us like return of our Lord. And it's just an exciting time to be alive. And I think precious metals are the most exciting investment out there for many reasons that we've named today and will name soon. So happy investing in 2020. Stay tuned. We'll keep bringing information to you every 2 weeks. With this market update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.